Well, thanks so much for taking a second just to come and share your story, share your experience.
Thank you.
That is the whole purpose of our new podcast for Seeing Red, is to share these stories and make sure that they're told, make sure that they're heard, and they're impacting new Indigenous artists and talent.
See, I'm 70 years old. My career is coming to an end. I'm going to retire soon, but right now, I don't know. I don't have any rights. I have responsibilities, as all people do. But they think they call them rights, but they're not. They're responsibilities. And mine right now is to make sure the younger kids who are coming up in this business, they know the pitfalls, they know the downfalls, which way to turn, who to talk to, blah, blah, blah. If I can steer them in that direction, give them any hint of any information that I have gleaned over the last 42 years, I'm more than willing to share that with them.
We are open to learning. We're ears wide open, wanting to learn from your experiences and the challenges and the mistakes and the pitfalls and the obstacles and the victories, so.
Yeah, well, I'm still standing. Every morning I say, thank you for my failures, and thank you for my victories. Thank you for my presence. Thank you for my life. Thank you for the sunlight, everything in the morning. Then I get out of bed. And the day turns out better when you wake up with a positive attitude. Doesn't matter if it's raining or not, or whatever kind of weather, or whatever adversity you're going to face that day. There's always a little glimmer of something somewhere. Just, hang on to that. Because they'll see you through.
Well, I feel like that's been part of my journey, is going back to that Thanksgiving address, that state of gratitude, that acknowledgement, that relationship has been so key, especially in understanding the water and protecting the water, being a voice for the water.
Yes, the water is important. I tell kids nowadays, they say, hey, what's so important about water? I said, what do you do when you get up? What's the first thing you do? Well, I go to the washroom. Then what happens? Well, I said, what about that little chrome handle on that thing? What do you do with that? Well, it's flushing. And what's in that bowl? I go, water. Clean water. And then what do you do? Well, I take a shower. With what? Water. I said, clean water. Then you go to the kitchen. Then what do you do? Now, here comes a conundrum. What would you do if you didn't have fresh water? You couldn't make coffee. Your whole day stops. That's a joke, by the way. But the reality is, if we were left alone on this planet, the only thing we would have is us, nothing. I mean, human beings are the only creatures on this planet with no hair to keep them warm. They have to rely on that. But what we have is oxygen. It's a wonderful thing. Hydrogen and H2O. It's a beautiful, beautiful combination. But water, a great percentage of our bodies are made of water. Okay, we can get by without having water for maybe, a couple of days or so, but you become dehydrated immediately. And we can't function properly. Your brain goes haywire. You start seeing things. And it's not a good state to be in. But with hydrogen as well, I mean, they got electric cars. Everybody's going, oh, you got to get an electric car. And I said, no, I don't. Do you know what it costs to run an electric car or to make one? That's why they're so expensive. And they only last for like 70,000 miles and kilometers, whatever. Then you have to change the battery. And that's about half as much as the car cost. So it's useless. And it takes, I don't know how many cubic millions of dirt and ore and soil they have to pull out of the ground, dump into these trucks, and haul it in these huge, massive mining trucks, which get about 2 miles to the gallon, diesel fuel, by the way, and process it.
We just don't think about that, though,
don't
right?
think
You don't
about it.
think about the
To get 1
processes.
pound of lithium, and look at all the energy, plus the waste of human life in these mines. Countries that most people, if you told them where this country was, if you told them, they couldn't find it on the map.
Yeah, that was the one thing that I learned when I went to the Navajo was this silent genocide that's happening with the mining and the uranium, and their water is basically radioactive, and killing them.
I know.
So and most people don't even know. That's the thing that is crazy.
Yeah, I did a film called Thunderheart. It was loosely based on what happened, I think, in Oglala. Oglala. And, it turns out that the rights were sold to certain pieces of land for uranium, and it was poisoning the river, and people were dying, and nobody gave a hoot about it, which is unfortunate. My dear friend John Fusco, he wrote the thing because he spent a lot of time on Pine Ridge, and there it was, and it's like, wow. And people didn't like us doing that because they said, "Oh, you're painting us in a bad light." And I said, "No, we're telling the truth about stuff. If you don't like the truth, then do something else." I did a film called Skins. It was based on 2 brothers who lived on Pine Ridge, and one was a raging alcoholic, and the other one was on the police force, and we were both Vietnam veterans. And I played the raging alcoholic, and it was terrible. It was an awful role to do, to put yourself in that space every day. And people said, "You got no right to show people that side." And I said, "What do you want them to see? How good we are? Bang, bang, bang." And I face this every time I turn around. People are offering me positions on film saying, "You want to be the executive non-writing, non-speaking producer?" And I said, "What the hell does that mean?" And I said, "Well," I said, "you want me to be an advisor on that?" "Well, yeah." I said, "How do you know I can't lead you down a path that you would never come back from?" "Well, you're Indian." I said, "I didn't realize I was born in India. I thought I was born in Canada, here on Turtle Island, North America." "Well, you call yourselves Indian." I said, "I don't call myself Indian. Indians come from India." Some blithering guy from Spain came over. He was lost. And he crash landed on the shore. And he thought he was somewhere he wasn't supposed to be. So he went to the Caribbean, he murdered a bunch of people there. Then he came up here and murdered a bunch of people here, and went home, and he was a hero back in Spain. All for the sake of who knows what, but here we are. No, and like I said earlier, I feel it's a responsibility of mine to have these young actors coming up, and writers, directors, anybody who's involved in the industry, to get seriously into it. And okay, maybe it's not everybody's turnip in the garden that they want to eat, but at least you gave it a shot. And nobody can tell any of the kids that I know that they can't do it. The only person that says you can't do it is you. And if you give up on yourself, then you gave up on your life in the world. So my advice to them is stick with it.
Stick with it. We're still here.
Yeah.
So why do you think it's important that our stories are being told now? Why is that so important that these characters and these roles and these documentaries and this knowledge and awareness is getting out there?
Our culture is rich, and we belong, some of us as actors in the film and radio and television industry, we belong to a very, very elite group on this planet, the storytellers. Now, okay, everybody forgets about all this stuff, and things are growing, and it's beautiful, the sun's shining, it's warm, it's happy, but in the wintertime, you're huddled around this fire. And who takes up the slack? The storyteller. He tells stories about what happened. which became events, which became legends, which became bang, bang, bang. And everybody embellishes on that. So you can't really agree about what the story was about, but it makes a darn good evening of entertainment, which is what we're doing. And I fell into this business 40-some years, 42 years ago, I guess, and met my wife. We've been married for 35 years now, and it's just been, hey, I'm living the dream. And it's good to see all these young kids that are coming up behind me and going, wow, this is great. And they go, who are you? And I said, Google it.
Google me.
Yeah, Google me. You'll find out. And they go, oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you were. I said, you know, you don't realize a lot of things. Once in a while, just stop and look around. Don't be in such a hurry to get from A to B, because you might miss something in between.
That's good advice.
Yeah.
What do you think has been the hardest part of this process?
The hardest part in my life growing up in this business is getting the recognition from producers and writers and directors who think I should be wearing this big headdress and stuff all the time. I said, people don't dress like that. What are you, nuts? And they go, and we don't do that. But I went to LA and I said, to the first film I was in down there, and I said, no, that's totally wrong. You can't do that. Well, this is what everybody expects. And I said, I don't care what they expect. Why don't you have brave enough to tell them the truth about what's going on in people's lifestyles? And I got offered this job with a small film called Dances with Wolves at the time in 1989, and it was a small budget picture, and I had no idea. But we went down there, and I met Kevin, and he said, nah, you don't look native enough. Really? Well, you don't look white enough. Costner, isn't that German? Huh? Anyway, I got hired, and we were doing stuff, and I said, you know, Kevin, this whole film, it's about family, and you're being accepted as family into this family, and you are part of the extended family. And there was one scene where I had to get into bed with my wife, Tantu Cardinal, who I've been married to in films about 30 times, however. But I'm squirming around, and I reached under my back and I pulled out this doll and looked at it and pitched it and pulled the fur up and went to sleep, and Kevin went, cut, what's going on? And I said, do you have kids, Kevin? He goes, yeah. Do you find their toys laying around? Yeah. Okay, you got it. And they
It's
kept
real
it.
life.
Yeah, they kept it. Your life, it's life and family, and we've portrayed that. I mean, there's Tantu. She's giving me hell over something that. What, me? I didn't what? What did I do? Typical man, doesn't know anything. Doesn't listen to his wife until it's too late. And you're sorry, your finger's already burnt from the stove. You were told not to do that, but you did it. And it's just been, it's getting a little bit easier now because of these people like me, guys like Fred Ward and Claude Akins back in the 60s and 50s, and Harry Smith, who well known for the role of Tonto. People like that, they plowed the road for me to get up to where I was, to walk in there and sort of have an opinion about it. But now, myself and myself, Tantu, Tom Jackson, Gary Farmer, all these old, a little long in the muzzle now, and we plowed the road for these kids to come up behind us. And we just turn to them and go, okay, we got you this far. Don't get up.
I like that. And I think that that's important, is this constant
Nurturing.
Yeah, the constant nurturing, the ability to be stronger in our voices and not fall into those stereotypes and boxes that, you know, they want to fit us
Yeah.
into.
But it's harder in Canada because we don't have an infrastructure in, as far as the film industry is concerned, we don't have studios. Yeah, we got studios, but guess what's in there? American shows doing American films. And occasionally they go, oh, we need a Canadian. You, come here, Canadian actor, stand over there. Go
Check the
A,
box.
Go A. Okay, we filled your quota. Here's, see, right here, look, we filled your quota. Here's your union, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm meeting with some people next week about building this complex up in Northern Ontario where they have better tax credits for film. And because me and him want to see an infrastructure that's happening here, and I believe it will happen. That we will have films made by Canadians in Canada, in Canadian studios.
I think that that's one of the visions of Seeing Red, is to see Red behind the camera, see Red in the writing, see Red in the production, in the makeup, in the design, in everything, components.
And if I don't see it, I see red.
Exactly. So we're, you know, like, do you think production companies, media companies, Indigenous-owned companies like this are important, significant right now?
Yes, they are significant. Everybody else is there, and there we are standing with our hands in our pockets going, oh, that's nice. You're still pointing like this, though. So, come on. Look, you want to tell stories? Don't stand back and say, oh, yeah. Do it. Just do it. And if you don't like it, do something else. But nobody can fault you for saying, I tried and I don't like it. Well, at least you tried. I've done so many things in my life as far as career goes. I was an iron worker, a carpenter, a carpet layer, a civil technologist, a draftsman, a roadie, an audio technician, owned a studio, a recording studio and stuff. I just did all that stuff. And my dad says, oh, you got to stop job jumping. Pick something and do it. I said, I haven't found it yet. So he gave me a suitcase for Christmas one year. Just go find it. All right. So it was February and I left home in February. It's freezing cold out. And here I am today.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I love that. You know, just go out and do it. You know, don't just sit back and wait or complain about how it's being done, but actually go and take that action.
And do it.
And do
if
it.
you don't like it, you have the ability to change
it.
anything you want to change. And if you can't change it, there are people who are like-minded. And if you get enough together, you have a group and they'll change it. But internally, there's probably going to be squabbling and arguments. That happens with every family. Doesn't matter. It's what we're made out of. It's what we are, and it's what we do. The best thing we can do the best is complain.
We're good at that.
We're good at it. We're really good at it. I've never seen animals complain about things, but humans always complain about stuff. Like that light is too bright. Oh, jeez.
We have light. Wow.
we got light.
We have light.
Yeah, thanks to water.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Graham. I really appreciate you taking some time tonight
Thank
to
you.
share your thoughts, your story, your voice, and
My miserable life.
it does inspire. You know, you guys are paving the path for new filmmakers and voices.
I'm all for it. I'm just totally all for it. Come on, you kids, please.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you
Nyawa.
so much.
Nyawa.
Nyawa.